Hey guys, Ashlane here. Happy to bring you another 3-star expert review recap of a raid. This time it's going to be with Aronos, Red Elite co-leader. He's one of our best 3-star attackers. We're going to break down a Town Hall 10 3-star using HOGs. Enjoy, guys. So here I am with Aronos. Aronos, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, really happy to have you on. I think we'll do this more often, especially if the viewers like it. But you recently had a 3-star in our most recent clan war, so I thought I'd have you on, and you can kind of walk us through the attack and maybe just give a more in-depth review of how you came up with the army and how you executed the attack.
Yeah, so just kind of looking at this base initially, like one of the things that really stood out to me was obviously it's a teaser, so these bases are pretty fun to use. If you look at the backside, like there's no giant bomb locations. All the wizard towers and everything down south or all the wizard towers are down south. So I knew that like any sort of kill squad would go through and kind of sweep those out and then make it pretty easy on hogs. And then also, like only having one multi-target Inferno, it made it kind of easy to go in and take that out, as well as the Queen being adjacent to it. Made it really easy for a kill squad to go through and just take out all the important stuff. So
okay, I mean that all makes a ton of sense. So, but how did you plan the exact pieces of your army here? I noticed you have a golem in the clan castle. Is that correct?
yeah, I had a golem and a giant in the clan castle, and the only reason I really chose like a giant instead was just because of the multi. It just kind of sucked up one more beam for a little while, so that my kill squad could go in there and kind of hollow out the core. But yeah, so with these hog raids, I've kind of found a sweet spot, sort of, where most of these bases, generally like for a GoHo raid, like a three to four golems usually works really well to kind of go through and take out the important stuff in the middle. And then like anywhere from like 13 to about like 17 hogs or so is usually enough to kind of take out, you know, the remainder of the base after your first phase is done. So the reason that I took the spell composition that I did is one, I wanted to. Well, okay, so for a few reasons actually. On the backside, there's no splash, so I knew that once the first phase was done, there's very little damage going on the back end. So I figured I only really needed like one heal, and honestly, I probably could have done it without it because there's really only like some cannons in the back. But I wanted to keep my my cleanup going strong, I guess. And so the storage is on the bottom. It's a lot of health to chew through. And I knew that the first phase of this attack was going to be really chaotic because there was a lot of stuff that I would have to do kind of all at once.
Yeah.
So what I did is all right, so the way that I started this raid out is I came from the bottom with the golem and about 4 wizards to start clearing out that elixir storage and take out that archer tower to kind of create a funnel. And then I was using wall breakers to kind of scout out the giant bombs that I had seen in the previous replay so that my wizards wouldn't get killed. And then I started coming in from the right with my kill squad. I dropped the golems, the archer queen, and then a rage spell with all my wizards to blow through that stuff really fast. And then I dropped a freeze spell on that inferno to get my wall breakers in there and bust that wall. It saved me a jump spell. And then I just dropped another rage to follow it, and just to kind of get everything in there, kill the queen, start clearing everything out on the inside. And then I didn't really need that freeze spell, but I just froze it to kind of save my kill squad from getting damaged. And then at that point I started coming in with the hogs from the left hand side. I wanted to get in there really quick, so that way my kill squad wouldn't get beat on too hard. And then at this point, everything's pretty much done. It went a lot smoother than I expected.
Yeah, it was. At this point, it's just like your king and queen are both doing great. Your queen, you still have the royal cloak ability to be used. The hogs, you drop a heal just for the heck of it, right? At that point, so things are looking great.
Yeah, just to keep my kill squad going strong. Like I said, the beginning of this raid was going to be really chaotic, just a bunch of stuff happening all at once. And
if you could go back and make any change, obviously a very successful raid, but if you could go back and make any changes, you said that the one of the freeze spells and the heal spell were kind of unnecessary. Do you think that looking back, you would change the spell composition at all, or even the troop composition, or are you pretty happy with the way things ended up?
honestly, I'm pretty happy with the way it worked out because, mistakes do happen and like little random things that do happen that you're not really expecting.
Hmm.
Honestly, I was expecting this raid to go. I was expecting my like the main like brunt force of my attack to kind of. I didn't think anything really was going to survive except maybe my Archer Queen, and I really thought I was going to be kind of pressed for time.
Yeah.
So if I was going to do anything, I would probably just drop like a hog, probably kind of on the top right by those archer camps to kind of draw the CC out and then poison it. But like I said, I didn't do that because I figured I could just do it on the go,
Yeah.
and I was kind of worried about time, so I just kind of went for it. So
Sure, and using the 4 spells plus the poison in the first phase of the attack was obviously a lot, a lot of firepower, but it was actually very smart. Now, what if the wizard towers had been scattered more appropriately, I guess, for a better base design? If they had been up north, would you have then, at that point, would you have added an extra heal spell?
Yeah, what I would have done is I probably would have scrapped one of the freezes. I probably would have done. I probably would have scrapped the second freeze because I didn't really need it because I had enough kind of going through there at that point. Like I think the freeze on the initial bust on with the 2 rage spells and the 2 freeze spells, the reason that I went that route was to bust that bottom right wall with the wall breakers and kind of freeze everything and just kind of surge through and clear out as much as I could as soon as possible. But in hindsight, looking back, if I was going to drop anything, I probably would have dropped the second freeze spell in favor of another heal spell. Like, if there was more possibilities of like giant bombs that I didn't know were on the backside, or maybe more splash on the backside that I was worried about, I would have just dropped that second freeze that I used on the Inferno and taken another heal spell instead.
Okay, great. Well, I really appreciate the you coming on and sharing your walk through the raid. I think it was really beneficial to the audience, especially to hear somebody, because I know even from my own experience that when I actually execute a 3-star attack, is as infrequent as that may be, I find that it's so much easier to describe when you're the person actually who planned it all out and who executed the attack, because you really go ahead and plan for everything. How long does it take you to plan for an attack like this? I know you've pulled off 2 of these hog raids in the last few wars, so.
Honestly, after doing it for a while, you kind of get a feel for it, kind of what's needed and what's not. Like you get like a really good foundation of kind of like the basic things that you need, and then you just kind of look at like the intricate parts of the base, and then just kind of adopt, just tweak little things here and there, just kind of like mentally walking through it. You think of like the first stage, okay, what am I going to do? And like you think about like the deployment and then how things are going to path, and then you just kind of adopt, or you drop certain things and kind of pick up certain things here and there. Like, for example, like I knew I was going to bust that wall, for example. So, but I also knew that there was a bunch of giant bombs down south, so I figured I would just kind of drop some wizards, and then just kind of take some extra wall breakers so I could kind of clear out those giant bombs and then bust that bottom right wall to kind of save me a jump spell. And then that gave me a lot more power in the core because I was able to take like a second rage or a second freeze. So I would just say kind of methodically think about it, like from beginning to end, like each stage of the attack and kind of what's going to be happening at any specific point, and then just kind of tweak it as you go. So
Awesome. And I guess one final question for you is, when you're scouting the enemy map for bases to hog, because you said, a few times now that this is like your bread and butter attack, and we've seen it, and we certainly love that it is. So what are you looking for specifically on a base that you decide to hog? Now, obviously, a base like this was just screaming for a hog attack, being the Infernos and the splash damage all together in the south. Is that what you're looking for? Everything clumped up like that? Or is it just basically, what are the main things that you're looking for? Is there any base that you totally don't want to attack with hogs?
I would say like obviously like the anti-3 bases are pretty tough, but
Yeah.
just looking at like bases in general, the things that really stand out to me are ones where they have like a really clear path of defenses around the edge, like where the hogs are going to go, because some bases where like the defenses are all kind of cluttered around the middle. There's points where like the hogs and stuff can split, and it makes it kind of difficult to kind of figure out exactly where they're going to go sometimes. But on bases where you have pretty easy access to the core without really being too heavy on spells, like, oh, it's going to take me 3 jumps to get to the core and get a wide spread and take out all these infernos. Like, I just don't like that. Would be a bad base because you're committing way too much to your kill squad. But on bases where, like, for example, the multi-inferno tower and the queen are like side by side, and you have pretty easy access to the core with, like, a handful, like a few golems. I think those are the sorts of things that you would want to look for, and kind of avoid bases that, like, maybe they have 2 multi-inferno towers that are kind of sectioned off that you don't really have very good access to, or like the wizard towers are way spread out, or you don't have very good access to, like, a kill squad to kind of lure out the clan castle and kill it, or things like that, or just make it a lot more difficult. But this base, for example, it had really blaring flaws, and it was really easy to just go through there and take out a ton of really high value structures at the front end, and then just kind of hit it from the backside with hogs. So,
well, you did a great job, and thank you so much, Aronos. And if you guys, the viewers, loved hearing Aronos on the channel, and you want to hear more, go ahead and let me know in the comments below, because it has actually been great. I think it's been really informative, and thanks so much for coming on, man.
yeah, no problem. I really appreciate it. So,
All right, great. Take care, man.